In this video, I want to take you through the process of factorizing polynomials using the long division. I've prepared another video. I have uploaded another video where I was factorizing using the synthetic method. So today I will be using the long division method. So let's get through these few steps before we work out a few examples. Right, step number 1. Arrange both the divisor and the dividend in ascending order of powers. Right. Step 2. Divide the term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor and write the answer as the first term of the quotient. The next step is to multiply the first term of the quotient by the divisor, I mean the entire divisor, and write the product under the dividend in descending order of powers of x, aligning like terms. You understand this better when we'll be working out a few examples. Right, let's move on to the fourth step where we'll be subtracting the aligned like terms, making sure that we are subtracting the one above, subtracting the one below, and the term with the highest power will definitely give you 0. So we'll be eliminating the terms with the highest power. Right, let's move on to the fifth step where we are now dropping the term in the dividend that is soon after the aligned terms and add it to the difference of the aligned terms in step 4 above. Right, let's move on to the sixth step where we are now repeating step 1 to 4 for the expression in step 5. Right, and the last step, the seventh step, we are now repeating the whole of this process until we get a remainder that has the highest power of x, which is less than the power of the divisor. Right, let's now work out this first example so that we understand better. If f of x is equals to 2x cubed minus 9x squared plus 11x minus 6 is a factor x minus 3, factorize f of x completely. Right, we are going to factorize this one completely using the long division method. Right, we have the divisor here, x minus 3, and the dividend, this is f of x. Right, so what we are going to do is we are going to draw these lines like this, the long division lines like this. Right, then here we are going to write our dividend, which is f of x. Right, so here we are going to write f of x like this. Then here we are going to write our divisor, which is x minus 3. So we are writing x minus 3 here like this. Then from there, let's now move on to the first step where we are dividing the first term of the dividend, which in this case it's 2x to the 3. We are dividing this term by the first term of the divisor. So we are dividing this by x. We are saying this x into 2x cubed, we get 2x. So that 2x will be our first term of the quotient. So we're going to write it here like this. Then let's move on to the next step where we are now multiplying this 2x to the 2, the first term of the quotient. We are now multiplying this by the entire divisor. So we are saying 2x squared by x, we get 2x to the power 3, and we write it under this first term of the dividend, aligning the like terms. So we are writing it under 2x to the power 3, under the other term in x to the 3. Right, then 2x to the 2, we are multiplying this 2x to the 2 as well by minus 3, and we get minus 6x squared, and we write it here just under minus 9x squared, so that these like terms will be aligned. Then since we have multiplied 2x squared by the entire divisor, we are now subtracting aligned terms. In this case, by so doing, we'll be eliminating these terms in x to the 3, since these are the terms in terms of x to the 3 where x is the highest power. We are now subtracting them. So if we subtract 2x to the 3 from 2x to the 3, we get is 0. If we subtract minus 6x squared from minus 9x squared, we get minus 3x squared, and we write it here. Right, then from there we are now dropping the term that is soon after the aligned terms. In this case, the aligned terms are these terms in x to the 3 and x squared, these terms. So the term that is soon after these aligned terms is 11x. So we are now dropping this 11x like this. Let's drop plus 11 like this. Right, then the highest power of x here is 2, which is still greater than the highest power of x in the divisor here. So we are also going to divide this term minus 3x squared by x. So this x into minus 3x squared, we get minus 3x like this. This is now the second term of the quotient. So that second term of the quotient also has to multiply the entire divisor. The entire divisor. So minus 3x will multiply x, will also multiply minus 3. So minus 3x by x, we get minus 3x squared, minus 3x by minus 3, we get positive 9x like this, and we are aligning these like terms. So the next thing is now to subtract the aligned terms like this. These first two give us 0. Then in 11x minus 9x, we get 2x like this, and we write it here. Then we drop this minus 6 like this. Then the highest power of x here is the same as the highest power of x here. We want the highest power to be less than the highest power of x in the divisor. So we are going to divide again by x. X into 2x, we get this 2, and we write it here as the third term of the quotient, as the third term of the quotient like this. Right, then this 2 must also multiply the entire divisor like this. 2 by x, we get 2x. 2 by minus 3, we get minus 6 like this. Then let's subtract. Right, if we subtract these terms, we get our difference being 0, 0 like this. Right, which means this one is a factor because this one is always the remainder. This is the remainder. What we get here will be the remainder. Right, so since we know very well that f of x is equal to the divisor by the quotient plus the remainder, right, we can write it this way. We can write f of x is equal to the divisor. In this case, our divisor is x minus 3, sorry, by the quotient, and in this case our quotient is 2x squared minus 3x plus 2 plus the remainder. In this case our remainder is 0. So we are saying our f of x is equal to the divisor x minus 3 by the quotient 2x squared minus 3x plus 2 plus the remainder. In this case our remainder is 0. Here is our remainder. Right, we can simplify this further. Where we'll be ignoring this 0. So we are saying our f of x is equal to x minus 3 factor of 2x squared minus 3x plus 2. And this is our final answer. We have factorized completely. Since we cannot factorize this quadratic factor further. We can't factorize it further. So this is our final answer. Right, let's move on to our second example. Right, factorize f of x completely. In this case, we were not given the factor, so we have to look for the factor ourselves. Right, so we start with a root. Let's use the try and error method to look for the root. We try. Let's try 1. Suppose 1 should try with 1. We want to check if 1 is the root of this if this equation f of x is equals to 0. Right, so we use the factor theorem here. We are saying if f of 1 is equal to 0, that means 1 is a root. So let's check if 1 is a root. Let's substitute 1 here. Let's find f of 1. Taking 1 to be 1, taking x to be 1. Right, if we substitute 1 here and simplify, we get minus 8, which means 1 is not a root. If it was a root, we were supposed to get 0 here. So 1 is not a root. Let's try something else. Let's try 2. F of 2. F of 2, if we substitute 2 throughout, we get 0, which means 2 is a root. So if 2 is a root, that means the factor is x minus 2, like this. We now have a factor x minus 2, like this. So we are going to factorize this f of x completely by making use of this factor x minus 2. Right. So let's move on to the next step. So we found that f of x is a root x minus 2. So we can now use long division to factorize f of x. Right, let's draw these lines like this. Then our dividend here, our divisor, which is x minus 2. That's our divisor. We write it here. Right. Then, as usual, x into x cubed, we get x squared. So we write it here as the first term of the quotient. Then this x squared will multiply the entire divisor. So that x squared will multiply x. There we get x squared, x cubed. Then that x squared will also multiply minus 2, and we get minus 2x squared, like this. Then let's subtract the line terms, right, like this. If we subtract x cubed from x cubed, we get 0. If we subtract minus 2x squared from x squared, we get 4x squared. So we'll write it here. Then let's drop the term that is soon after the aligned terms. So in this case, the term is minus 5. So let's drop minus 5 like this. Then the highest power of x here is 2, which is greater than the highest power of x in the divisor. The highest power of x in the divisor is 1. So we are going to divide again. So x into 4x squared, we get 4x. We write it here as the second term of the quotient. 4x is multiplied by multiplying the entire divisor. Right. We get 4x squared minus 8x, like this. Now let's subtract the aligned terms like this. 4x squared subtract 4x squared is 0. Then minus 5x minus minus 8x, we get 3x, like this. Then let's drop this minus 6, the term that is soon after the aligned term. So we are dropping this minus 6 like this. Then x into 3x, this x in the divisor, into 3x here, we get positive 3, and we write it there as the third term of the quotient. Then that third term of the quotient must multiply the entire divisor. So this 3 is multiplying 2 from x, like this. So 3 by x is 3x, 3 by minus 2 is minus 6. If we subtract these terms, we get 0. Right, as usual, f of x is equal to the divisor, which is x minus 2, by the quotient, which is x squared plus 4x plus 3. So we are going to rewrite it in this form, like this. Right, so the next thing is to factorize this one further. We can factorize this one further. We have the factors here. The factors are 3x and x. So we're going to factorize this one separately. Let's factorize this quadratic factor separately. Let's factorize it here like this. If we factorize this quadratic factor, x squared minus x squared plus 4x plus 3, if we factorize this one completely, we get x plus 3 factor of x plus 1 like this. So instead of writing this quadratic factor, we are now going to write x plus 3 factor of x plus 1. So our f of x is now x minus 2 factor of x plus 3 factor of x plus 1 like this. We have factorized completely. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our videos.